listen to this, welcome to my channel. I'm Fifth Degree, but you can call me Fifth. Okay, y'all. So I'm gonna do a real quick read. See what we got going on in the atmosphere. Happy Portal Day. Happy Portal Day. What are you releasing as you are entering through the portal? What are you releasing as you're going through the portal? Hopefully everybody is grounded themselves, has learned a lot of the lessons that need to be learned, right? Right? Because that's what this portal is about. It's about community. It's about love. It's about twin flames. It's about all of that. All of it, y'all, okay? But I'm not really I'm not really going to be doing too much on the twin flame side unless it comes up, okay? All right. First card out we have is the wishes not being fulfilled. For the alchemist, I'll read it for you guys after we get to the end of it, okay? All right. And the tradition. The wish is not being fulfilled as a tradition. Yep, with the older man. And some of this other stuff. Let's see what else we got. Ultimately, what this is giving is know who you are. It's really giving know who you are, know what is important, what isn't important to and for you, and what is a priority and what isn't a priority, right? Everything it is that you do throughout the course of a day tells you about what your priorities are. I feel inclined to say, pay attention to the vibration. 222, as I said that pay attention to the vibration that you're in when you watch this, okay? Because if you're in your lower vibrations, that means you're going to be watching for the need of survival. If you're in your mid vibrations, it's going to be, you clearing out different things. And if you're in a higher vibration, it's to give you insights on how to handle different things. That's part of the reason why it is that I do the alchemy portion of it for the alchemist, right? All right. Especially, and definitely pay attention to what vibration you were in entering the portal, so you could see and gauge what vibration you'll be in after the closing of the portal. Okay, I was just thinking the irony that comes into place with us crossing through the veil for All Hallows Eve into the portal, the 1111 portal, and if you would have cleansed your essence and let go of a lot of things, right? You might be dealing with some residual, right? Some residual anger and fear and turmoil and all that other stuff. You might be dealing with that, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to treat others like you're dealing any. If that helps, if that makes sense. Okay? We got Two of Swords, so some traditions, some traditions as a decision. How people decide what constitutes as a tradition within it being imprinted. Yeah, in short, tradition, realistically, in a lot of instances, being dead people telling you what to do. People who ain't here no more, who may have had a lot of different situations go on in their lives where the tradition really didn't serve them and it didn't progress us as humanity, especially within this Aquarian era, right, y'all? And it didn't really assist the progression of humanity, but it served the purpose that was needed for the era of Pisces. And as we're shifting over to Aquarius, getting real technical, right? Getting down to the nitty gritty and the impressions. And within some of the different tattoos it is that will be had, it's definitely giving Libra essence and what constitutes as a decision. Okay. and the truth of collecting information, the truth of what it is to collect information. And the other portion of it is one of the days being about wishes not being fulfilled, with one not being committed, with one not being committed and being an older man, being single. One of the things that was coming to me is when people like to invite a person out to different spaces, um, what is the ratio of masculine to feminine essence, right? And if you're the traditional type of person and you have masculine and feminine essence, the first thing that comes to place and comes to mind would be the embodiment or gender of male and female. Okay, but at the highest vibration, we do understand now uh, that it doesn't necessarily have to be about the gender of masculine and feminine, but it would be about the emotion of masculine, which is the doing, and the feminine being the feeling. Okay, so we have that portion. So with this Ace of Swords, Page of Swords, the collection of information, the truth of the collection of information that comes with this Two of Swords and indecision. Yeah, it's about the whole getting the skinny on it. That's something that somebody would probably was talking about. Let me get the skinny, which means it's the same. That's an old way of saying collecting information or talking, and then the wheel, right? The wheel being in the reverse, which means it's at the end of the year, and at the end of the year, how one wouldn't expand. Okay, and the truth of it. In short, and I was just gonna say how everybody sees it now, with them walking away in this hermit essence. Walking away, there being this abundance of emotion, that there would have been disappointment in regards to the third party situation. Something that is given is no one wants to be cheated on. And something that was coming to me before I got on here, loyalty. Loyalty is something that we all like to talk about so very much. But a lot of us don't understand what true loyalty is and who you need to be loyal to. One of the things that was coming to me, I'm so serious. It was from past situations that I had dealt with, and it had dawned on me. It was like, you know what? Some people are loyal to their friends to a fault. Loyal to friends and family to a fault. Because if you believe that in loyalty, it means that you're supposed to let your friends or family be active to whatever capacity with your mate, and that is acceptable, or if that's an expectation a person has with you being their friend, you may need to reevaluate whether or not this person is your friend or not. That's something you really need to evaluate, because your friends aren't supposed to want the same type of relationship with your partner that you do. I don't care what nobody says. I say that because of past situations, right? Basically, the guys were friends, and it's the bro code, and yeah, the tradition of the bro code and all this other stuff. And y'all be doing too much with that, y'all. I really do. Yeah, because women have that same type of code, right? We got the same code. Yeah, and with being single and all of that, right? Just because you're single doesn't give you a right to be or to claim that loyalty is only about sharing everything with everyone. Because it's something you have to keep to yourself. That's a part of self-love, right? So in the truth of, or in the collection of information of one not loving themselves, and the manipulations that will come into place with one being narcissistic, overly emotional, and materialistic, right? Some of this other stuff is given is it's gonna be about the passed away loved ones. It's giving Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, and the family, and huh, yeah, with this Hierophant reverse, I knew that this was gonna come into a mediumship situation, which means either passed away loved ones, people you don't talk to anymore, or karmics. Okay, I constitute karmics as passed away loved ones, y'all. So yeah, because you used to love them, and there's nothing wrong. 11:11. When I said that, there's nothing wrong with acknowledging that you love the person, and that now your space is better served away from that individual. I'm hearing walk in it and own it. Well, that could be kind of difficult if this person doesn't even know how to walk. No, what I mean by that is they don't know what their walk is, or they don't know how to stand in their truth, and understanding the difference between standing in your truth and standing in the truth, and truth being measured by proven facts, right? Things that you know would have gone on, tangible evidence, or and or uh, manifestations that have become tangible, right? Okay. So overall essence of the star, right? Aquarius essence, but also the healing, the impression of what it is, impression and imprint of what healing is and what healing looks like. As one would look to the heavens, huh, some things going on in the underground. Yeah, I'm saying underground, but it's giving going on in inner earth. Now, because what this is giving is how people would make, how at this time of the year, 988, ladies and gentlemen, in the event that you would be feeling down, alone, whatever what have you, but also send prayers, Prayers, to those individuals who are working in that medium, right, with people who would be in the mindset of committing suicide, right, or having really, really dark thoughts, extremely depressed, because this is definitely that time of year. It's gotten better from what I've gauged. It's gotten a little bit better uh, than in the past, but this is definitely that time of year because people we coming upon the holidays, the HOLIDAZE. We coming up on the holidays, y'all. Okay, and a lot of times people get so flustered and filled with emotion. I personally say, don't ruin a great meal with an argument, because what'll happen is you'll be feeding the argument, which means that you'll be telling your body and mind that it is okay for you to be negative and to hurt yourself and to stress yourself out whenever you have a good meal. It's simple chemistry. Yeah, it's a chemical thing, and that can create chemical imbalances and what we like to call tics, right? Little nervous actions. It'll happen and it'll cause those things later on down the line. All right. So within this whole walking away, it'll be the night walking away being an abundance of emotion for the month of August, right? It'll be the Knight of Wands and a Knight of the anxiety that comes into place. So the awareness. Now, this Knight of Wands is feminine accent, is feminine, right? So it'll be the doing inspiration of what it is that one does when dealing in and with anxiety. in the healing aspect. In short, how it is that one would heal their anxiety. One of the things I'm gonna go ahead and tell y'all, y'all like to make fun of Tauruses for this, okay? And I know Sagittarius does this as well. Sagittarius has a tendency to do it a little bit more when they're angry, but if you start feeling overwhelmed, go to sleep, take a nap. That's what your body is telling you. Go to bed. Go to bed. You start feeling too much. Most of the medications it is, right? Doesn't matter what type of mode you're taking it for, right? Mode, MOLD, that you will be taking it for. 9 times out of 10, it makes you go to sleep. It makes you really sleepy, and then it works on your chemicals. It works on your body while you're asleep. So that pretty much just tells me go sleep, go to bed, right? So for the alchemist, right, it'll be about the wishes, the incoming wishes that will be fulfilled due to understanding the transcendental spiritual truths of one's fortune being in the upright within there being expansion. And some of it will be about what will go on with Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio, and Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, right? Within the collecting of information, right? That'll be what will be coming in. That's that portion. The other portion of it, right? Something that was, I had a dream, right? The dream, I did see, it was like some big old fish. So it's some fertility going on, right? But it's koi fish. So it'll be the manifestation of one harnessing and harvesting their light and dark side, and how much darkness it is that one would have versus how much supposed light it is that they would have. And it was in it'll be in the core memories. Pay attention to what will go on in your core memories. Okay, y'all, as the impression. Yeah, because, well, in a lot of this, it's given the not being a teenager, right? Versus walking away as a teenager and having anxiety. So some of this is about healing the inner teenager. And here's the deal that comes into place with the teenager. That's the adolescent portion. Your mind is all over the place already as a teenager, y'all. Okay? So give yourself some grace in that. Your mind being all over the place and the reality of, you going from one mindset of thinking into the adulthood portion where you have to be responsible for yourself. Essentially, that would be what it is, that you would be responsible for yourself. Now I'm gonna go ahead and say it for those individuals who didn't get the opportunity to only be responsible for themselves, right? That may be something that the 1111 portal will be bringing to and through for you. It may not. But within healing the inner teenager, right? Now, a lot of people, we've already healed their inner child. Now it's time for us to review the inner teenager, okay? And then the young adult, and so on and so forth. The more you allow yourself to feel and process with your adult mind, I think that's the part that I should have said a long time ago. My bad, y'all. My bad. It was 1922 when I said that. Okay. you utilize your adult mind to heal these younger aspects of you. Since I didn't say it before, I'm going to give you all a pass on it. I will. I'll give some people a pass on it because I didn't say it beforehand. All right. Now, understand, just because you get now that be the other portion with the manipulation of the collecting of the information with the manipulation, and I'm hearing the overzealous nature of one being dirty or not being a queen of coins, right? For the incoming portion, it'll be about one nurturing, one stability, okay, within the collection of information. How it is that one can nurture one stability, but with an impression or imprint. Yeah, because it'll be about that. With the collection of information, it wouldn't be, a Queen of Pentacles or a Queen of Cups, but it would be a Knight of Wands. Understanding why it is that they would have to, yeah, walk away, go do their own thing. Now, because something that I was hearing was, do your thing, shawty, right? And what does that mean? Because some people feel like they have to give you permission to do it is whatever it is you have to do. And in some cases, you can't, in the rebellious nature, right? They call it rebellion in the teenagers portion. Uh, what type of teenage rebellion did you have? Yeah, because to me, that's realistically just with all of the past dreams it was that I had been having. I'd already spoken about them. I don't have them up on here on YouTube anymore, right? And I used to do readings on YouTube, Facebook, and IG. Since I'm just now here on YouTube, I gotta basically re-upload everything to 202. As I said, that I basically gotta reteach the lesson, which is fine. Not these. All right. But ultimately, when you're dealing with your inner teenager, what was your teenage rebellion like? That's really what you want to pay attention to. What was your teenage rebellion like? Because not everybody had the same type of rebellion. Some people, when they rebelled, they did drugs. So for them, it will be talking about drinking a lot. Others, it's going to be talking about when they may have done some harder drugs. Others, this is going to be talking about workforce. Others is going to be talking about, uh, okay, I just heard watching someone pass away. Others is going to be about uh, getting the information, the truth of collecting the information of how many people it is that would have left. That would serve as the abandonment portion. One of the things that's really coming to me is that one scene in a thousand words. It was a scene in a thousand words with Eddie Murphy. And this is going to be in regards to those people who, for lack of a better phrasing, talk too much, right? How does your speak a whole lot and have that gift of gab, but understanding that that gift of gab would be what would manifest the world for you, right? Now the other portion of it, right, in that movie A Thousand Words, it symbolizes how he had to come in. You have to get quiet. Sometimes you gotta pay attention to if you're just saying a whole lot, that don't mean nothing. And it took for him to stop saying I love you, right, to his wife, to stop saying it and to actually do it. Now, mind you, I said to his wife, until you are married to the actual person, by right, if y'all engaged and you're committed, that's great. If you're dating and you're committed, that's great because that means you're on the way to marriage. But after you're married, that's a whole different ballgame. It's certain stuff that you have to do. Hold on, y'all. I gotta find my other kid. Because right now I'm thinking it's linking back to the reading that I did with official person and all this other stuff, and how that's going to be different for everyone. Now, in regards to this higher ups aspect, if you're watching for business, it'll be about some situations that would have taken place 3 years ago. Is definitely giving the healing that comes into place with uh, some of it is the whole non-committal aspects that would have came into place when a person would have been, or when a business would have been misfortunate 3 years ago. Now, because the irony that'll come into place with it is the saying that, you can't make a person do something. However, you can. However, karma will make them wish they had it. Okay, somebody, I can hear, okay, I'm telepathically communicating with somebody right now. I can tell. Yeah, you can make a person wish that they had. You really, really can. Um, and it's not you doing it; it's the universe doing it. My job, the major arcana we got out. You got the Hierophant, Taurus, so it's really giving this Scorpio essence and how Scorpio uh, will have its mutability within its mutability and modality within its shifting and changing, uh, like the fixed sign Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, Pisces. And in this regard, it'll be about the whole Sagittarius portion. No, because I'm hearing some apology portion. Some apologies that'll come into place with some stuff. I don't know about y'all, but I ain't never been real big on apologies and just saying it. I like when stuff actually gets done. You don't make it past. Yeah, because some people get stuck in that teenage mindset. And the other portion of it would be about, understanding your audience in that regard. So, there's that portion. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. There you go. But yeah, so ultimately, what you want to do, right, is make sure you get a really good understanding of what certain things mean to it and for you. All right, especially when it comes to the abundance of emotion and Scorpion. When you know what this is getting, when Scorpio essence is what's feeding and funneling the Sagittarius essence, and that's the fixed mindset for why it is a person would be anxious or have anxiety, gossip, discussions. Yeah, what I'll say with all these different situations and the imprinting onto an individual, it ain't nothing like being blamed for something that somebody else didn't do. I don't care what nobody say. And that's a part of those of us um, who can relate to being the family scapegoat, but not necessarily, not all of us will be the family healer. Does that make sense? I hope that helps. All right. Yeah, as we enter into this season, right? Yeah, and understanding that it's a season for grace, a season of grace, forgiveness, mercy. Now, let me go ahead and say this. If you have been extended grace, forgiveness, mercy, don't go back and do the same thing again. Even if you didn't apologize and it's extended to you, because that's part of the narcissism that comes into place with a lot of stuff that's being done, y'all. Yeah, I'm talking about even in the business aspect with in the business aspect with ultimately, yeah, people not realistically being committed or knowing their role as upper management, and then it causing for there to be some reflections to them of mismanagement. Mismanagement, mixed management. Okay. The influence of the occupation, being sad about the job they work. You can always get you another job. And the influence of a message of concern, with it being somebody who passed away in their family, and it being about a journey. How some, yeah, within the work it is that would have been done. One thing I will say is it's two fives in this. It'll be about the major shifting that comes into place along the journey. The major shifts and the major shifting with those impressions. Yeah, it'll been about some people no longer with us, no longer with you. And how it is the work that one does makes them sad. I ain't even finna lie. Some of this is given, yeah, the whole empath portion. Because cancer, and yeah, what it is to be an empath. Oh, shit. Okay. My bad, y'all. Pathway. Okay. So the pathway portion. Okay. So this got to be in a book, on a book, on Facebook, social media, right? Yeah, it's definitely given on social media. And then there being a mature woman, right? But within this message of concern, it'll be about the word thoughts and the message of the mature man in this courthouse. And then it'll be sudden wealth in one's home as an expectation. This is given an inheritance. Now, because the other thing that this is given is there was a situation that happened a while ago. It was the Fresh Start program that I had been a part of, and it was an up and coming program. And it was in this particular situation, basically what it was that happened was there were a lot of unnecessary judgments that were made based out of people who had more fear of politics and political presence, 3311 as I said that, versus God. And what the biggest issue that I've always come into place with, I personally have had to deal with it, I'm pretty sure others have too, is man trying to say what God wants. And they're not a clear vessel, if that makes sense. You can't say what or where God will put a person in order to, yeah, have something happen. And it's one thing if a person chooses to be in that modality or that functioning versus a person being forced to be in, yeah, like it's a difference between you choosing survival mode versus you being forced into survival mode. That's pretty much what that's given. And especially when you're talking about, yeah, how a person would be working inside one's mind. What kind of people are those? It's not the illusionist aspect. You got therapists, you got counselors, you got counseling. Um, it's a lot. Therapists, counselors, counseling. Um, what they call those? Life coaches, all of those different things, right? And how one can get to read the thoughts, right? The working of the thoughts in the message of the mature man while they're in court. and it being a lot of them. This sudden wealth is telling, yeah, it being a lot of stuff in regards to the sudden wealth in the house, having a happy life, happy life, happy house, happy spouse is kind of what that's given in that regard. Okay, so it's that part. Um, the other thing that this is really giving, yeah, when you're dealing with imprints and impressions, everything ain't what it seems. Nothing is ever what it seems. It's always a underlying value or underlying factor, right? And understanding, yeah, because it's given when a person wants commitment, but they haven't fulfilled what's necessary in order to get the commitment. It was a reel I posted right a long time ago. Like it's great if you're watching this for love. It's great to have all those loving, caring, nurturing, sweet feelings, right? But the problem that comes into place with having all those loving and caring and nurturing and sweet feelings is if you haven't anchored them. A lot, yeah, for my alchemist, right? Alchemist, you have to anchor it. Yeah, stop beating around that bush and that fact, and understanding who it would be that's the alchemist or who it is you're calling yourself alchemizing, right? Yeah, because it's giving alkaline. Somebody, maybe you need to drink some alkaline water. Drink some alkaline water. Some of the other things it is, um, pay attention to what will be going on with your throat. Pay attention to what it is that will be going on with your legs. So circulation. That's gonna come into a lot of different modalities. But circulation, not necessarily the heart. Yeah, and what happens when you look up and you when you're talking to the universe? No, because it's giving it whole Bruno Mars talking to the moon. Yeah, and don't tell everybody how you do stuff. It's kind of what I'm getting from it. Okay? So we're not going to do that. Yeah, I was shuffling the Journey of Love deck, but it's like, nah, I ain't got no messages. My bad. Alright, so some final thoughts and things of that nature. Yeah, with whoever, if you not happy with the work it is you're doing, or yeah, you need to reconsider what you constitute as work. What's work and what you working on and who you working with. Yeah, because one of the things that keeps happening, people will certain people who know more, they try to be real secretive about the fact that they would know about something. Yeah, I just heard just ask the question straight out. Just ask the question straight out. Stop beating around the bush. This is the reason why motherfuckers. I'm sorry, my bad. Oh man, God. This is the reason why you have so many problems in families because people want a particular answer. They want you to validate their perception. And when I say family, I'm not only talking about yeah, I'm talking about work family too. And how big is your work family? So serious. But you get a lot of people who get really upset, frustrated, let down. Yeah, just downright depressed and all of those uh lower chakras being blocked because they wouldn't have allowed for themselves to just ask the question. Just ask the question. That way no assumptions can be made. Yeah. And then when you look at the person and what it is that they will be doing, actually look at the person, because within you asking a question, right, that don't mean that the person is going to tell you the truth. Part one. Part two. Can you handle whatever the answer is to the question you've asked? Can you handle it? Yeah. Now, the other part of it is when you see it, the answer to your question. 4044, as I said, when you see the answer to your question. Okay? Uranus? Yeah, because people can. Yeah, because you want to know what it is. Because each one of these, how much more do you, it's the how much more do you want? And it doesn't always have to be about the how much more do you want. It be about the how much more can you take, or how much more can you give. Yeah, that be that whole greedy shit. One of the things it was that when I was walking, right, it came to me. Okay. So this is in a few of them. It came to me. We got Libra, Virgo, and Taurus. When you in your Libra essence, you balance in Virgo and Taurus essence. It's kind of what that's giving. But Uranus and Libra, Uranus and Virgo, Uranus and Taurus. Uranus and Virgo would look like physical protection of whatever, and continuous and being steadfast in it to ensure that justice is given. That's what Libra, Taurus, and Virgo would actually look like in the doing for Uranus. Yeah, it would be like when you a young adult and you going against everything that somebody else would tell you is supposed to happen. Okay. Coming through Uranus and Aquarius. Lord. Aquarius is like, y'all alright. Y'all should be okay. Because you want to know why I personally say that Aquarius should be okay? Because Aquarius is the water bearer. They know how to carry emotion and purify the emotion. This would be the reason why I be like, why do people always be saying that, yeah, that certain essences are so dark? I've seen it be, yeah, lighter than that. But you carry the emotions, and but the difference is from you to Sagittarius. Sagittarius does it in the air, and Aquarius does it on the ground. But you all act a lot alike. Yeah, you act a lot alike, and your essences come off the same. Okay, so karma, right? Stir up the situation by using genius to experiment with spiritual values. Okay, so let me explain. What karma is, y'all. Karma is a reaction to what you already put out there. 44 4 when I said that. So it's more important that you pay attention to what you put out there in these times. Okay? The mental portion, right? Be open to new ideas about the discoveries of long range thinking or travel. For some people, this is going to be about whether or not you get anxious while you're traveling. Yeah, and which way it is that you would travel that would ease your anxiety, right? Yeah, for some people it'll be about bus. Some people it'll be about the way it is that they will walk. Some people it'll be about being on a plane. Some people it'll be about I just heard Delta Airlines. Okay. So all of those different things, right? Well, in that regard, that'll be in regards to all the air traffic controllers being fired and stuff, and planes literally falling out of the fucking sky. And it's all because of the decisions that was made by one particular individual. Yeah, the no one gets in, no one gets out, but him situation. Mm. Oh, I'm not going there. I am not going there. But invent a way to, in the physical or the doing, it was one inventing a way to, resulting from the eccentricity of what is to be shared. In short, the karma that's coming into place is about what it is one would have kept to themselves versus what it is one would have told other people. And why, yeah, and why it is you shouldn't take. I don't care how much of a friend you have. If you know you got, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. I love y'all. I love y'all Leos. I do. But I'm gonna tell on y'all. Y'all like for people to be loyal to a death with you. You do. You really, really do. You want them to give everything and that they have. That's the only way you consider them loyal. That's the only way you consider them loyal. If they don't give you everything that they have, it's not good enough. It don't be good enough. So that's in the whole recognition aspect of things. Alright. So I'm hoping that helps you guys out just a little bit. I just heard Scorpio has a tendency to do that too. Scorpio does have a tendency to do that too. And that's really unfair. And then those two signs especially, since I'm talking about them, those two signs especially wonder why people don't want to deal with them on a romantic aspect. Because they're already frugal. They're already frugal with their essence. Right? They feel like them just showing up is supposed to be good enough. Okay? Which in some instances it can. But they're already frugal, just as frugal as they are with their finances. They're frugal. They're just that frugal with their essence. Right? Like stingy. Nah, this ain't that kind of stingy. Because what I understand stingy to be is something different. And there's a difference between being protective, being possessive, and being overbearing. Yeah, at some point you gotta let the person do it on their own, and understand if they do it on their own and it's successful, right? Because they not real big gamblers either. That's not true. I know a couple of Scorpios that was actually pretty big gamblers, but if they do it on their own and they succeed, right? And you say that they're not going to succeed, it proves you wrong. Pay attention to ultimately what I'm getting from a lot of this is paying attention to the underlying motives. Means, motive, opportunity. That's what that's giving. Means, motive, opportunity. So whatever that's about. Okay? I'm hoping that helps you guys out just a little bit. Give you a tad bit of an inclination as to a few different things it is that will be going on. If you like to schedule your own personal touch of clarity, you can do so at Lightwork and Lightwork LLC. But like, share, and subscribe, right? Like, share, and subscribe. Don't forget to do that, okay? It helps me with the algorithm so the messages can get out there. And I can see that the messages are getting out there outside of people doing the Facebook thing and the thumbs up and the likes and stuff in my face in real life. Because that be the stuff that people don't be seeing. But yeah, okay. I just heard, so you see it in real life, not on the internet. Yeah, I do see it in real life, not on the internet. I have to deal with it in real life. Okay, so but yeah, hopefully that helps you guys out just a little bit. Cause see, remember, light work, it ain't light work. It is not light work. It's not light work, and that's why you have to stay right while you work.